Okay, this is Dre Tattoo Squid podcast with CJ from Talking Shiz, my idol. Because honestly, Talking Shiz got me into this. Like, not really got me into this, but kind of like I heard a couple of episodes and got into it. So thank you, CJ, for like I said before. You kind of like inspired me to get in doing this and. But welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the kind words. Honestly, podcasting, it's you don't think you're really doing a good job, but then when you hear stories like that, it's like it humbles you. It's like, wow, I didn't think I had that kind of effect on people, other than just putting them asleep with my boring stories. But other than that, yeah.
I mean, I had the same thing where I'm just talking, but everybody's like, not everybody, but like most of my family and friends are like, you talk so much, you might as well just do this. I'm like, all right, I'll do a podcast. So, and it works out pretty good. I did like 100 episodes first season, and now I'm doing pretty much 100 again for this second season, but with interviews. So, yeah, but how did you? I know you mentioned that this is all for like fun, which I love it, and it's fun for me as well. I mean, still I gotta learn. I'm still learning. It's a learning process, I guess. How did you get about to doing podcasting?
You know, uh, well, as folks know that I used to have a co-host, and it was Maddox, and we end up parting ways. It was not a fallout, so I just want everybody to understand there was no fallout or anything. He wanted to explore other adventures, other avenues, and so I mean that's what happened. I get it, I understand. We were doing it 2 years, and prior to that, like Maddox and I, we were co-workers, and Maddox and I, we sat next to each other, and so we would just play off of each other, just making each other laugh, like to the point where our one of our managers actually came up and said, "Look, I appreciate the positivity and the laughter and all the upbeat, but could you keep it down?" so, so and a coworker actually mentioned, "Why don't you guys just start a podcast?" and and I said, okay. And so, because I mean, throughout the whole day, we're just sitting there just conversing back and forth, back and forth. And so we decided, okay, well, let's get a podcast. And so I went out and got got a mic, got some headphones, trying to be that real podcaster, Too bad none of it's, all this equipment is not tax related, tax write off. It'd be great if it was, but
Yeah.
um, so, so he uh, so he said, "Well, what are we going to name it?" And I said, "Talking Shiz," because that's the first name came up. And then I'm a huge Amazing World Gumball fan, and I said, "What do we name it? The Amazing World of Talking Shiz." And then that got too much to actually type out and everything. So we
Yeah.
we kind of shortened it back to Talking Shiz. Unfortunately, the email I can't shorten the email. And so I remember our first episode, our very first episode. It's horrible. The mic that I bought, it sounded like I was in a bathroom stall in a bathroom. It was just so horrible. And I
Wait,
bought
you
it from Best
weren't in
Buy.
the bathroom stall? I thought you
No, no, no.
were.
We tried, but it just wasn't happening. There's two other other things going on, some outside interferences.
Yeah.
so, uh, so our first episode was denial and error because that's what I named it. So when we started, talking about I think the Avengers Endgame. No, the Avenger. Yeah, I think it was the Avengers Endgame.
Okay.
And so the first 20 to 30 minutes, we forgot to hit the record button.
Oh shit.
So we had to go back and start the whole episode over. And then when we posted it, and I was like, dude, this sounds horrible. And so our next episodes was the 80s. Was it that great? And we recorded that episode 3 times. And I went and got back. I went back to Best Buy. I said, I paid $60 for this mic and it was horrible.
Yeah.
And I got a new mic, and then I got another new mic and finally had one that actually sounded decent. And so that episode was like, we recorded it 3 times before we can even, got it to, at least playable, just put it that way. It just, that's how it all starts out. And then, progressively we got better, I think, if that's what you want to call it. And now, I'm riding solo, trying to figure everything back out now since, since Maddox left. But I think, it's, I hope it's going well. That's, I don't know. So, it's just a hobby.
Yeah, a lot of people on different podcasts, like even on Twitter, they were like, talking about your show and this and that, and it's just like going crazy, and it's like, you're getting somewhere, by yourself. I mean, I had a hard time just trying to figure out shit, like you were saying, because I was using my phone all the time. We call it recording on Anchor, and I can't even fathom. We call what my first episode was. I gotta go back, like, and physically try to look for it, because I'm like, I can't remember what it was, to be honest. But I was just making up shit on the fly, like, not making it up. I mean, there's real shit that happened, but I had a couple of interviews with friends and bands that I know, and believe me, I'm there with you. We could, it's like I said, it's a learning curve. You learn it as you go, and I have 2 microphones which I still haven't used, and like 2 to 3 sound machines which I haven't used. I mean, I use them, but not like, say, for Zoom. So yeah.
Our podcast is kind of like yours. You talk about anything and everything.
Yeah.
And like our first, like the first motto of Talkin' Shiz was, if ADD started a podcast, it'd be our podcast.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I do have ADD, and you can actually tell, like, if you listen to the episodes, like any type of episode, like I'll be on this rant and it'll just switch, just like the conductor switch tracks in the middle of a thought, and it'll go totally like there's episodes where even my recent one where I had a guest on a Reverie podcast, a true crime podcast. She actually had to reel me back in because I'll just get on this rant and they have to pull me back in. So, but we'll have I'll have topics like the 80s and the 90s. The 90s is actually one of the most popular episodes. And Christmas music. That is the most downloadable episode. Our the Christmas music episode. And it has like it's up there, like it's the top episode. And I re-listened to it just to see if I can recreate that magic. I cannot recreate that. I don't know what it is about that episode, but it blew up. And there's one topic that I remember I was really passionate about, and it's funny how podcasting works, because the topics that you are really passionate about, it doesn't do well at all. Like, people are not interested. But if you come up with some crazy shit and it doesn't make any sense, I had a story about 2 guys that went to jail in Pennsylvania for having sex with 500 farm animals, and they recorded every incident.
Was that Pennsylvania?
Yeah, that was in Pennsylvania. Like, I had this one episode called "I Feel Used," and it was just the stupidest story. It was in Vietnam. There's this group of people got busted in a warehouse for reusing condoms. So they would go and get all these used condoms, put them in a garbage bag, take them to this warehouse, clean them out, repackages them, and sells them.
Oh shit.
And that episode did great. And so I wanted to do an episode about student loans, because student loans is it's horrible.
Oh yeah.
And that episode did okay. and I did research, and I was like, oh, if you go here and here, I was trying to be that, know what I'm talking about. It's funny. It's just the total opposite. So, I just, sometimes I'll have something, like I'll write out, and even in the middle of recording, it can change on the fly. You just never know.
Here, Here's a question, actually, because I thought of a question, and I thought a question I was trying to ask you. Now you heard it. Well, obviously, everybody heard of OnlyFans, right? So, but then they're saying, "Oh, OnlyFans are not going to be doing sexual, whatever." Yeah. So now, does that mean that everybody can do OnlyFans, even though it's not a sexual nature kind of thing or explicit? You know, it's like, hey, podcasters can do OnlyFans, you know, where it's, you know, some kind of a, you know, just whatever you can do. But I don't know.
We should come up with one called Pod Fans,
Yeah,
and it's kind of like it's kind of like Twitch and YouTube and OnlyFans in a sense, but there's no sexual nature whatsoever because you don't want to see it all that. But it's called
yeah.
Pod Fans, and that's where you can actually. It's a whole new website, and that's where you can actually meet indie podcasts. And if you're a well-known podcast and you do have a following, you're not allowed to be on the site because it wouldn't be fair for indie podcasts.
Yeah, that's true. Also, we call it. Now, a friend of mine wanted me to ask this. He wanted me to go and ask this question to like everybody I interview. We call it. It's stupid and it's like I don't know, but all right. So Betty White and Keith Richards. Now Betty White's going to be 100 in January 15th, I think. Keith Richards, I think, is like 75 or so. You know, even though he looks like he's 90.
He looks like the Crypt Keeper.
Yeah, he does. But you know, my friend at work was like, "You can ask this question: who's gonna die first, Betty White or Keith Richards?" I'm like, "That's fucking terrible, dude." But I'm like, you know what? I'll ask him because everybody else I've heard, you know, has been doing some crazy shit as well. So who do you think might kick the bucket beforehand? You know, Betty White or Keith Richards?
I think
Yeah.
Keith Richards because the Rolling Stones are going to tour this next summer or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think he can handle it.
No, I know that's what I was saying.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I don't know if you noticed this, but it's like all the rockers from like let's say the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
Right. And you know for a fact they were drugged out of their mind.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still alive, but now all these current, and I won't say current, but let's say 90s, maybe early 2000 rockers, they can't handle that mess. It's like they're kicking the bucket. I don't know if you noticed that. It's like they'll kick the bucket, but you have like look at Steven Tyler.
Yeah.
I mean he got on what is his name? Oh, he does the car karaoke.
Oh
my
yeah,
gosh!
I know you're talking about. Yeah, I know you're talking about that.
Oh, I hate that because I could see his face because he was in Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he had Steven Tyler on there, and he asked him, you know, how much money would you think that you spent in drugs? And he said over $2 million.
I believe it. I actually would believe it, you know, because they're like they went for everything. Even Joe Perry, the guitarist, you know, he's like, oh, we went through a lot. You know, imagine them in Motley Crue going at it. I'm like, I don't know who will win. That's a question too. You know, you put not Keith Richards, you put Aerosmith and Motley Crue in a safe, you know, who's going to come out unscathed, you know, from drug wise, you know. And I think Motley Crue.
I didn't listen to Motley Crue, so
you never listened to it. You never listened to it.
I've heard of them, but I can't remember I can't remember what they sing. Just quite honest. I mean, I've heard of the band. I mean, I'm not, okay. That, but I'm not that like, sheltered as a child.
No, I didn't say you were, but it's like, some people are like, oh, I remember, like, it was like, basically they're like glam, like rock, but then after the years gone by, they're,
I mean, they were the hair bands of the 80s because it was like along with Poison, Guns N' Roses, Cinderella. Man, I can't even think anymore.
Well, basically Cinderella and Motley Crue were in that time period as it is. So it's like they toured. Actually, that's the funny shit right there too. Uh, you know, like Ozzy Osbourne, Skid Row. They had Bon Jovi.
Oh, Tommy Lee was in Motley Crue, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So we could. They had, but all these bands they went to Moscow and for uh, drug and alcohol protests or whatever. Like, oh, stop doing drugs, stop this. I'm like, you got every band in the 80s that has done every drug there is and still is doing it and drinking. And they're going to Moscow to promote this stop drugs and alcohol thing. And I'm like, yeah, it ain't going to go well.
Don't do it.
That's
Don't do it.
Yeah. It's like it's to the point where you hear stories like Ozzy Osbourne and the bassist from Motley Crue is trying to see who can outdo each other by snorting ants up on the street. And I'm like, that's crazy. I'm like, but it is the road.
I mean, if you look at Ozzy Osbourne, I mean, even when that fake reality show
Oh God,
that he had, I mean, like he's been through it. Like you could tell, like it has taken its toll on him. All that hard rock partying at the time, I'm sure he enjoyed it, but look at it, like he stutters, he could barely move, and I
but
was
when
like,
he sings,
man,
you won't even know it when he sings. I was like, wow, but the stuttering when he talks, like you said, it is what
I
it is.
see 80-year-olds move faster than he does.
Yeah, there's a lot of but I think his was like the very first reality show, for like celebrity, I would think.
Man, I would kick that dog out of the house. As many times that dog shit in that house, either two, one, you're neglecting that dog and you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing,
Yeah.
or two, that dog needs to be outside. Every time you walk in the house, there's shit on the floor. That's an issue. Like,
And then
maybe that dog is old as Ozzy, and he took drugs too with him, so that's why he's shitting, because he can't even remember. That's why.
I mean, the one person that's like saying that whole family is like, the wife, basically. Well, I can't really say that because they
I don't know. She kept. I mean, she kept up Ozzy. Like she did her thing.
Yeah.
Like she really took care of him.
But there is like there was like stuff that was on the show. I don't even know if the stuff that was on the show was like real stuff that they always do, or is it just scripted?
When's the last time you threw a turkey at your neighbors?
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah, with the whole.
Okay, I was on a reality show, and
Huh?
I can tell you, I was on a reality show.
Oh, nice.
The Simple Life, and yep, and a lot of folks are like, say, "Oh my gosh, it's like we're going to meet Paris and Nicole. They're so beautiful." I said, "No, they're ugly." And so, what do you mean they're ugly? I said, "You can be the most beautiful person in the world and still be ugly. It's how you portray yourself. And I hate to be so let's say typical about this, is the inside, but it's like they were ugly. They, like, when the cameras were off, they wouldn't even talk to you.
Yeah.
Like they would not even acknowledge you, like you were even there. So that's what made them ugly to me. It's like, are you serious? It's like, unfortunately, these people are your fans, and you're not even appreciating your fans. But they're two most annoying people I've ever met in my life. I didn't laugh one thing. I didn't laugh. They're not funny to me. Like I can have more fun watching paint dry than watching them two.
Oh Jesus, I know, but it's just like weird that they do, like, it's the same thing. They go and do episodes of like Drunken Disorderly or whatever, and it's like, oh, they're so great, and I'm like, really? I'm like, I can do that every Friday and Saturday, but I'm not a celebrity, so I'm just trying to find the talk show host with the karaoke. What the hell is his name?
James, is it James?
James Corbin?
Yep.
Corbin. James Corden. There you go.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah. Because that's another thing. Oh, I know we were talking about the Paris Hilton. Actually, I was watching something with my girlfriend. She was doing a Martha Stewart like episode like via Zoom or whatever, and then she's trying to teach her how to cook, and I'm like, I said to my girlfriend, I'm looking, I'm like, yeah, that whole house is gonna burn down.
Yeah, I mean, you could train a dog faster than you get Paris Hilton to do anything.
True, yeah.
You could teach, and a bulldog is the most stupidest dog in the world. You could get him to sit and play fetch and roll over, then try to get Paris Hilton to fry an egg.
Ah. But what else? Imagine. Well, I'm not gonna imagine if Paris Hilton had a Funko Pop. But since we were on the subject before about Funko Pops, how many Funko Pops do you have?
You know, I'm glad you asked, because yesterday, 2.5 hours, I actually, a friend of mine, a fellow podcaster, him and I, we did an episode together called What's Poppin'. And, and we basically gave an inside scoop of why these figures are so popular. And one thing that I told him is that why is Funko Pop so popular? These pops is because they'll make action figures of people that you didn't even think there would be an action figure, like Wayne and Garth from Wayne's World. I have them too, you know. And I have Lydia and her red wedding dress, along with Beetlejuice in his purple tux.
Oh, that's a good find. Oh.
And you don't see that out. Like, you don't. There's some of these there's some of those figures that you don't see out. Yeah. And I think that's why that. And all it takes is one. And I know this is not answering your question. I'll get to it. I promise.
No.
And I tell, and I, like, my wife and like my brothers, like, why you buy these? They serve no purpose, you know. But I'm a collector, and a collector is, it's like, it's the thrill of the hunt. It's like I don't buy every Funko Pop. I don't do that. I'm not a fan of football or NASCAR or hockey or baseball, basketball. Well, basketball, because I got a LeBron James Funko Pop.
Yeah.
But that's it. I mean, I have to really like something before I just go out and buy it. I just don't pick up every little thing that I see, like the Chicken McNugget Funko Pop. Are you kidding me? A chicken nugget needs a Funko Pop.
Oh,
why?
I don't know.
But so anyway, he was telling me that Funko, you could download their app and you could create a list, and you have a wish list. Like, you go and search, oh, I would like to have this one, this one, this one. Then you have your collection, and you can take your camera and scan the barcode, and it'll add it to your list.
Oh, okay.
So yesterday, 2.5 hours, I was out there because I have some, like, and I have a little, I don't call it my man cave. It's my man corner.
Okay.
Because my wife, she won't let me have a whole cave. So she just gives me this little space that I can do whatever.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it. I sometimes I feel like Gollum, like, "Hey, precious," and I'll go out there and.
You probably got one of those too. We call for a Funko Pop.
Honestly, I do not own one Lord of the Rings because I missed the boat on it. Because at first I thought they were ugly and I couldn't stand them. But if you notice, like, the way they changed the shape, they changed the head, so it actually kind of looks more. And I was at Hot Topic, and they had Avatar, and I'm a huge Avatar fan. And I do believe, if my memory serves me correctly, that was my first pop that I bought, because I love Avatar. Like I was excited when the live action movie came out, and I was disappointed because they kept calling him Ong. I don't know why they did that. And it didn't kind of match the story of and I know it's rare. Like, anytime when a cartoon goes to a movie, or even a book goes to a movie, they always find some way to fuck it up.
Yeah.
And M. Night Shyamalan, he definitely fucked up Avatar. And the reason why, and there's a back. Okay, I know you're trying. Sorry, this is my ADD.
No.
So his daughter was a fan of Avatar. He's never watched one show until his daughter wanted to be Kantara for Halloween.
Yeah.
And then he watched whatever, and that's when he made a movie. So anyway, so yesterday, as I was counting, well, I wasn't counting, I was scanning. I felt like I felt like inventory. I was doing an inventory check. That's what I was doing yesterday.
Well, I did the same thing. I would mark down like whatever I bought. I make a list. I made a whole list, and I'll get to that after you finish what you're doing.
So with this app, it's actually, it was wonderful because it adds everything that I have, and so not only that you can scan them,
Yeah.
you can, it also gives you the total value, like what their net worth is now,
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
which is actually kind of cool. So my total count was 247. My net value on all my pops combined was $4,451.
Ooh, I gotta check that shit out because I got
And it's not, and that's not what I paid.
yeah.
And honestly, I was quite shocked because I did not know I had almost 250 pops. That's a fact. I thought I had 150. So,
You got way more than I do. I think I got 60 or so. I don't know.
So, like, I have Ash from Evil Dead.
I got that.
He's worth $25, and I only paid 10 for him.
Yeah, that's how much I did too. Yeah.
I have another Ash figure. He's worth $30, and that Beetlejuice figure, Lydia in the red wedding dress, is worth $90.
Oof.
I have Cabbage Man from Avatar: The Last Airbender, and it was just like a convention pop.
Yeah.
GameStop only sold it. Guess how much I bought that pop for?
I'm gonna say 15.
$6.
Oh, I was gonna go down that way, but I wasn't sure. I didn't
But
want
they were trying to. It was the last one. It was on sale. They was trying to get rid of it. Cabbage Man is worth $85.
to. You got to send me that link we close so I can figure out. Yeah, but that's
the
on the
Funko
box,
app,
though, right? That's on the box. That's on the box itself, right?
Yeah, but you can actually search. Like if you go to the, all you gotta do is go to your app store if you have a iPhone or Android, or
Yeah.
you just go to the app store, type in Funko. You'll see it has a little crown, their little emblem,
Yeah.
and download it. And you just create your own profile. And if you don't have the box, you can search it, because I bought some from eBay. Like I bought Doc Brown, just Doc Brown, the very first Doc Brown from Back to the Future. He's out of the box, and I just typed in Back to the Future, scrolling, found him, boom. And even though he's out of the box, I think he was worth like $15 or something like that. So I'm out of the box. I'm sure he's probably worth half that. And I have the DeLorean from Back to the Future with Marty, and it's out of the box. And I know I got ripped off because I bought them at this toy store, and they wanted $45 for them, and I think now it's worth like 60. So I know I got ripped off bad off that one, but I wanted it because it was the DeLorean. Are you kidding me?
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, speaking of which, well, not because I know Back to the Future is not going to have another movie out. Ghostbusters is having a new movie out next
November.
month. November?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So what do you think about that? What do you think about we call it it's been a long awaited, yeah.
Well, it should have been done a long time ago. When the Ghostbusters game came out for the PS3 and PS4, that was actually Ghostbusters 3 in a sense, because it was written, I think, by Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah.
I really need a life. I so need a life. I got to get out more. So that was technically, because I'm a huge Ghostbuster fan too, because I have their Funko Pops and Ecto One and the Firehouse, and I have the original, like the real Ghostbusters figures, and I have Ecto One from the cartoon. So yeah, in a sense, I would love to have a proton pack, but I'm not paying $1,800 for that, because I would literally I would sleep with that. My wife would kick me out, put me in the car, and says, "You need to sleep with your proton pack." It lights up and buzzes, so it just feels just like me. So just go right ahead. So
I can imagine you getting into like an ambulance and just going yeah.
At one time I was on the hunt to find a 55 ambulance. I was looking, so I wanted to rebuild and restore an Ecto-1. My wife shot that down so hard. She said, "You know what? You're not even mechanically inclined. You can't. You no, no."
Yeah,
I said, "You
yeah,
don't know me. I can read a book. I can watch YouTube." And anyway,
yeah.
she said no.
I tried that too. I was like, I'm not mechanical inclined. I had to go and like even shit with my car. Forget about it. I had to go and call like my girlfriend's boyfriend or whatever. My girlfriend's niece's boyfriend. Not not my girlfriend has a boyfriend. I'm like, that's me.
I have to
But
call myself.
yeah, I should say, hey, call my
I got to call the other
yeah,
personality.
or I'll
Call the
call
other
my dad.
personality.
Or I'll call my dad and all that, and I'm like, how do I do this thing with the car? Oh, I gotta go there and show you. And I'm like, Dad, you're 85 fucking years old. I'm not gonna have you come over here and try to get underneath a car. I mean, he's frail enough as it is. So, but yeah, Ghostbusters. I mean, but then you don't have Egon in there, obviously because he passed away and everything else, but in
Yeah,
real,
I heard they was trying to get Rick Moranis back. I don't know if
yeah,
they did or not, which would be a nice little callback to
yeah.
him.
Well, yeah, because he's like on hiatus, I think, from what I
Well,
read.
his wife got sick,
Yeah,
and so he had to drop out of acting. And forgot where I was going with that. Anyways, so, but now he's trying to get back into acting and everything. And
oh,
I was
okay,
like,
cool.
man, I mean, like he turned down like he in the female version of the Ghostbusters. It wasn't bad. I've watched it at least 3 times. It wasn't bad. I hated the way they did the proton packs, like they
Yeah,
more like a rope, and that was kind of dumb. But with this new Ghostbusters, Ivan Reitman's son, I can't remember his first name. I want to say Bruce, but I don't think it's his name.
yeah.
I'm just going to call him Bruce. He's involved, and so Ivan Reitman, who was the original from the first two, is involved as well. It's somewhat involved. Like
Yeah,
he's kind of like a background dancer in a sense in a music video. So I'm sure that they will do the characters right because they actually got 3 of them come back, and especially Bill Murray. I don't know what his problem was. He was the biggest. Him and Harold Ramis apparently had a feud, and I actually read a story about this. And like right before Harold Ramis, passed away, Bill Murray actually went over there and made an amends with him before he passed away.
yeah.
And so I'm like, dude, you've been this whole hold up this whole time, and you did all these other shitty ass movies, like what's that? Him as that submarine captain guy. I can't even remember the name. Is god awful, and he,
Shit.
which one? Like
Yeah,
Steve Zuzu, Wild Adventure, whatever the hell it was. I can't remember.
yeah, yeah. I know
like
you're
he,
talking about it. It's just yeah, it's
like
somewhere
he,
around there, but yeah, it's so bad that you can't remember it.
yeah, like he would do camp like Zombieland. He was a cameo in that, but you couldn't do Ghostbusters 3. I mean, come on. And like now
Yeah,
you did it, so.
yeah, but I'm kind of like I'm gonna say I'm not saying I'm shocked, but I like the fact that they had the kid that was in Stranger Things, um, and who else? Oh, and Ant-Man,
Oh, Paul Rudd,
yeah.
he's everywhere,
I mean,
and he
I did
doesn't age.
no, he doesn't. He doesn't age at all. I mean, there's some people that hasn't aged, but I just can't remember the names. But yeah, Paul Rudd, we call it. I see him do oh, what the hell is it called? The Hot Ones, Hot Wings.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
I've seen that.
so I don't know. I don't know if you have TikTok or whatever. Or maybe you're probably the only person in the world that doesn't have TikTok. But I have TikTok, and I did a thing where I grabbed, the episode of him on TikTok, and he's eating the wings or whatever kind of shit he was eating, like what are those people called that doesn't eat meat?
Vegetarian,
Well, no, but there was a no word.
vegan.
Yeah, vegan. So they had like vegan chicken or something, or vegan something, whatever. And
So
he's
he's
eating.
eating mushrooms.
Yeah, yeah, it was. I think it was. No, actually, I think it
Uh,
was.
uh,
It was something. And then, like,
wow, he's a vegan. Wow, I would have thought that.
yeah, I mean, it was something like that. And then he was eating it, and it was like really high. And he goes, "You, I'm so mean." And they were asking questions, and he was just going on because when you eat like really hot stuff, it was like it makes you a little bit drunk kind of thing, and and all of a sudden I did this video thing with the TikTok, and I had this like one of those old style, like, ballroom, like the plague doctor, the plague doctor mask, and I had that on, and I was like, black and white. I'm like, oh, and I'm like crying as well, and I hand him a tissue, you know, when they were like handing the tissues out to him and making it look like I'm handing the tissue. I'm like, oh, here, have a tissue, and I got like a whole bunch of likes on that one. I was like, wow, yeah. So I can do that shit, but I can't even edit my own shit. We call it for a podcast. I can edit, that stuff, but oh well.
You were talking about Stranger Things,
Yeah.
and the kid that plays Lucas, Caleb McLaughlin, I think I said his last name right.
Yeah.
I think he would be a perfect Miles Morales. He just has that kind of pizzazz.
Yeah.
Like he just has that. He has that energy that I think that he would be great if Marvel needs to pick him up. Like I think he would do great.
Now, are you a Stranger Things fan as well, or?
I am a stranger, and you would think I would have Funko Pops of Stranger Things, but I don't.
I think I got one. I don't know who I got though, but it's somewhere. I mean, my girlfriend is very meticulous, but she strategically places like she can really put my shit together with hers, and it's really good because mine's like really dark stuff, whatever. Because I got everything from like Guns N' Roses, like Guns N' Roses, Metallica, Jerry Garcia, Jimi Hendrix, and then I got like Hellboy and what's the guy that paints, Bob Ross, and like numerous others, and then Jack Skeleton, and she puts it everywhere, and she has like all these flowers and plants, and she's like a set decorator almost, which is good. But
especially you're trying to mix the two.
yeah. I mean, when I was married, my girlfriend did the same thing. I had everything from like skulls and whatnot, everything that was like really dark, demented stuff, and she can whip it all together with roses, flowers, what have you, and it was crazy. So, but I do have a garage that I can use, which I use for YouTube every once in a while, which I gotta do because I got unboxing. But
that's one thing I don't do. I don't put unboxing videos on YouTube.
Don't you do didn't you do like an unboxing, but you only use your hands?
Yeah, it's just a gag.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, now I know. So we go.
Yeah,
because I'm looking.
I'm very handy.
Yeah, this is the hand model. Hello, how are you?
At night, I put it, in one of those hypergenic chambers. I'm okay. It's like Zoolander. Okay, I couldn't think of the name. I was trying to think of it. Remember when David Duchovny come out and he was a hand model and
yeah. Oh, that's my girlfriend's favorite because she's an X-Files fanatic. So she has the Funko Pop. So actually, Mulder and Scully. So it's somewhere here. Yeah. But
talking about Fox, and I'm gonna throw something out there and see if you remember what it was. And
okay.
if you're in, because I know you said you liked like skulls and kind of like you seem like you're a horror fan. That's what it seems like a little bit.
Yeah.
Like maybe a horror fan.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you remember this show on Fox? It's called Freaky Links.
I've heard of it. I don't think I've seen it, but I've heard of it. But
I'm just wondering because it was a really good show. Like it came on, and I was like, oh, because it talked about like the supernatural, like it had like I think a Bigfoot. It was kind of like X-Files almost. But it was like it wasn't more like like aliens and stuff like that. But there's kind of like almost like Supernatural, the TV show itself. But they weren't killing anything. They were more like investigating. So they were kind of like paranormal investigators.
I know. I want to try that. I want to like, because I have a sister-in-law like from when I was married, and she is in like the paranormal investigation, bracket, I guess. Are you into like horror or any kind of movies like that, or?
I am a horror fan. It has to be a good horror. It can't be stupid horror,
Oh yeah,
like where it doesn't make any sense. Like I can't stand Friday the 13th. I know everyone's like, whoa, no, it just doesn't make sense. It's like he died as a 12-year-old, but he comes back as a full-grown man. That never made sense to me. It's like, but he died. He was 12, so he grew into a 6'6" man, and he's beefy. He's got muscles. Like
yeah,
Freddy never scared me. Like, because the first two, of course, the first Nightmare on Elm Street was great, and it's a classic. The second one, I liked the second one, but
yeah.
after that, they got goofy, like the Dream Warriors and all that crap. Chucky, you're running from a doll, kick him in the forehead, stab him in the face. He's a doll, or he's made of plastic. You can't throw him in fire. You know what I'm saying? He's a doll. So never understood child's play. Now, the one movie that scared me as a child is Children of the Corn.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That movie scared me. Like I remember playing in my uncle's cornfield, and I'll be looking down, making sure like the dirt's not moving or anything.
Because that shit could be like real shit too. I mean, you're going somewhere in a town, like you said, that you had the cornfield area as well. So, it could happen. Kids might be going, crazy.
Cuckoo.
Yeah,
Like
cuckoo for
I'm
cocoa.
a big I love paranormal. I remember back in 2005, I think it was. I went to Waverly Hills Sanatorium, or Sanitarium, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that it was for real haunted. I had me and a group of friends went, and I asked to be the last group because they'll do a group and they'll wait like 45 minutes. Then they'll let another group in. So, they time it out just right. So you wouldn't run into anybody or any interference. And so you had a guide, and the guide's explaining everything. I held in the back of the line because I didn't want to know anything about it. I wanted my own experience, because you know how your mind is. If somebody says, in this room right here, so and so, killed himself, and every now and then you can see him walk by the window, and all of a sudden your mind's going to picture that because now you're thinking about this shadowy figure walking across whatever. So I hid back in back in the back. I didn't want to hear any of the stories.
Yeah.
And I caught a couple of ghost pictures, and I can say it was haunted. I mean, I walked by this room, and it was because I knew where I was at. It was me and this other guy. That was it. Everybody else was down the hall, and we were just hanging back. We walked and this huge 2x4 just fell, just dropped out of nowhere.
Oh.
And nobody else was on the floor. It was just us. It was because I already knew, because you can see the flashlights because you brought your own flashlights and everything.
Yeah.
And the group they were like almost on the other side of the hallway, like down, because it's huge. If you ever look at it, if you start at one end, they were almost to the other end because you can see the flashlights and everything. And we're back in the back just lollygagging basically.
Mm-hmm.
And we walked by this room and crash. I almost pissed myself because I wasn't ready for it. I said, okay, we're playing like that. Okay.
Yeah, because I got a story about well, I mean, I remember I'm not remember, but there is a podcaster, Life Paranormal with V. You ever heard of it? Or
yeah, I've heard of it. I've seen him on Twitter too.
Yeah. So I was actually talking to V a couple weeks ago, actually 2 weeks ago. She was on the show, and she was talking about how she deals with the paranormal and everything else. And I had this thing in my head where I had something like what you were just talking about, where I was at home and I was moving. So now when I was married, my wife had cancer, so she passed away like 2013. And so my friend was like, and his girlfriend were like, listen, we'll help you move if you're gonna move. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna move to this other place, gonna need some help. So I'm going from like a house to like a half double house, whatever. Anyway, so he helps me move this main mattress, and there's like a spare bedroom. There's a spare bedroom. The person next door was telling me and my wife in the beginning, oh, this is like so and so's house, and their uncle died in that room up there. And like, huh, okay, yeah, I didn't pay no mind to it because I don't really believe in it as it is, So the only thing that's different about the room, it was like so hot, like all year round, it's hot, In the summer, that room is the only place that's really fucking hot. And in the wintertime, that's the only place that's really hot, like a hot room. And so
Interesting.
yeah, very, very, but the only thing is like my mom and dad, well, my dad and like my in-laws and and everybody else, like they would come over to visit, they'd stay in that room and nothing happened. Nobody didn't say shit. So my friend helps me move a mattress and he's going past the room, the spare bedroom, and then he like lets go of the mattress. Now, he's saying he lost his grip and all that, but then he tells me the next day, he's like, yeah, when we went past that room, I heard a voice saying, he's like, get out of the house. And I'm like, because I didn't tell him anything about the room. I didn't tell him nothing about it. This is like the first time he's been in the house at all. And he tells me that thing, and then I'm like, well, what's funny about it, the story I just told you, and then I told him, and he's like, well, why don't you fucking say something? I'm like, because it never really happened. Nothing happened. Nobody didn't say shit to me. They didn't say,
Because
oh,
the best kind of prize is a surprise.
yeah, exactly. So, and then I mean, I had my own little thing as well, because I bought a new car, because. And I'm like, I needed a new car. So I bought a new car and I'm driving. And like when you're a kid and people are gonna be like listening, like, you told the story. I'm like, yeah, I know, but it's a different person. Anyway, so you're in a car and you're a kid, and then when you're with your parents, you usually put your knees against the back of the seat, like when your dad's driving or your mom's driving, and just to get comfortable and shit, like back in the day. Yeah. And then so I'm driving my car and I feel like what it is, like knees digging in the back of the seat, like doing that thing and all that. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, I'm looking in the rearview mirror trying to, like one of those movies, you look in the rearview mirror or like a supernatural TV show, and then you want to see like the face of somebody that's right there. But and then all of a sudden I turn back, I'm like, there's nobody in the car but me, and I'm driving. I'm like, I almost crashed, and I was like, holy shit! I'm like, what the fuck was that? And I wasn't drinking. It's like the middle of the fucking day, and it was fucking crazy. I'm like, I probably pissed myself as it is too, and I didn't even know it. But I was like, and I told people this story, and they're like, yeah, I don't know. I'm like, dude, I felt knees like, you're a kid and you're playing around in the back seat and your knees gonna like, it's crazy. But that there's other incidences, but let's go. I'm gonna stick with those right now because I don't want to, last thing and
We want to
'cause I
scare
know,
people.
huh?
I said, you don't want to scare people.
Well, yeah, I don't want to scare them, but then also, they'll be like, "Oh, what the fuck?" It's like that's all they're gonna be talking about. I'm like, no, there's other shit. That's how my podcast is. We talk about a lot of different fucking shit. That's it. So, what was it? There was another thing. Oh, so we call it, how? Well, since we're on the subject of haunted. Are you a huge like Halloween decorating your house?
I'll decorate the house for like fall. As far as like Halloween, my wife
Yeah.
won't let me. So I'm very limited. You know, I wear the pants of my family when I'm finished with the laundry. That's all I gotta say.
That's a good analogy. I never heard anything like that one before. I'm going to use that one. But no, because no, I usually like I'll decorate, for Halloween and Christmas, and then that was it. Because I mean, I got a Frankenstein, like I would call it a mannequin, but you could be able to like uh hit like the lever that's on the bottom and hunk them down, to like a midget size. So, but I used to have them in the apartment, and now my girlfriend's like, oh well, now, can you just have them out in the garage? And I'm like, okay, fine. So, but
I mean, I like to dress up for Halloween. One year I went as Beetlejuice. One year I went as the Joker.
nice.
I went to YouTube and I was trying to make scars, like trying like Heath Ledger, and I kind of put my own little spin to it because
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a Hollywood artist, I can't do that. And you just take this liquid latex. It was very simple. You just take liquid latex and you lay a foundation and you use like toilet paper and you do it very, very thin.
Yeah.
And then you try to make the outline. The only thing is like I couldn't, like when I smile, is like I couldn't really smile because I had the scars making the smile. So it was,
Oh,
and then you use a liquid latex on your face to, print it, smash it down. Then you use more liquid latex to go over it. And then you just kind of just fill it in with, makeup.
I'm more.
One year I went as Rick from Rick and Morty.
Oh shit! Really?
Yep.
Nice.
I bought a blue wig and spiked it up, which that took forever. Oh my gosh, that was that was horrible. That was a horrible wig. It wouldn't hardly stay up. Like I was using like Gorilla Glue trying to get it to stay up.
Now you know how we called '80s girls. We called always try to like tease their fucking hair like all that time back in high school. Like Aquanet.
Yeah, like my kids and I dressed both my kids up as Morty, and they both had a yellow T-shirt and a pair of jeans and white shoes. And so we went instead of going, because I don't trust people, especially with my children.
Yeah.
So we went to the mall, and the mall hands like there's some places in the mall that hands out like I'm talking about full size candy bars. So I took them trick or treating at the mall.
Yeah.
And so we walked around, and like people were just so excited. Oh, it's Rick and Morty. And my one son, I bought him an eye patch, and I took that liquid latex and I made him a scar. So it looked like there was one Morty that had like battle damage. So.
Oh man, that is crazy. Because I did like I'm more of like a mask kind of guy. I'll get everything like the more hard looking thing, or even like what was it? I bought like a nun mask, and I just wore it. Just like walked around nun mask, and it was just people were like, "What the fuck? What the hell are you wearing that for?" I'm like, "It's
None of that, none.
It's horror." But the nun, we call it from the horror movies. We call that is the scariest movie out of everything from The Conjuring. The Conjuring. Annabelle, like you said, just kicking her head and whatnot.
I'm glad you brought that up because I go a couple years ago for work. We had the place where I'm employed at that pays my bills. They on Halloween or close to Halloween, they'll have like this charitable event, and so whoever wants to participate, they can. And so we'll have like underprivileged kids and people who can't really go out trick or treating, and so they'll during the workday they'll come and trick or treat through the whole office building, and each section of the office is like a different type of theme. Like one was like cereal, and one was like board games, and we got chosen to be the Wizard of Oz, and so we actually decorated. And I made like this little house out of cardboard it was Dorothy's house. It was all, crooked and whatever. And then I put the feet, the ruby slippers and stuff. And I was the scarecrow. So I dressed up I went to Goodwill. I think I spent a total of less than $10. So I went to Goodwill, bought some corduroy pants. I went to Amazon for $2, bought these little patches I could stick on, make it look like scarecrow. Talk about the Conjuring. The Annabelle, I think if you ever saw the real Annabelle and what Annabelle, it was a Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah.
To me, that would have been more scarier than that crap that they used. Because I was so mad at that when I watched that movie. Because when the Conjuring, the first one came out, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
The second one was okay. Did not like the third one. The third one was trash. The Nun. I didn't like it. It wasn't scary to me because I think Hollywood emphasizes it too much, and I think that it's the simple things to scare people.
Yeah.
But if Annabelle was actually that ragged, like a, let's say a carbon copy of what it looked like, to me that would have been more scarier because you wouldn't have thought something that looked that wholesome to come up there and try to beat your ass and drag you to hell.
Yeah.
But no, you got this old thing that looked like it came from a dumpster, like they just pulled it out of a trash can. I'm like, are you serious? And it just, that's what pissed me off about that whole movie. It just, this is stupid.
Yeah. But you talking about the Conjuring, like the last one they did, or
Yeah, the devil made me do it or whatever.
yeah. Because I'm like, what the fuck?
The devil went to Georgia or whatever it was called.
Yeah, or and there's a guy with the fiddle, you know. I forgot what the guy's name is though. My dad loved that guy. Well, I liked it too. I love that song. But
Charlie Daniels.
yeah, yes, yeah, I should have known. It was like Jack Daniels, you know. Kind of like,
Yeah, like I was so excited for that third one,
Yeah.
and I watched it and I'm like, is it going to get any better? Because at first it was like, okay, I liked where it was going, like, okay, and that's where they fool you. It's the illusion that they just gave you. It's
yeah.
like you heat up a hot pocket and you're like, oh, this is going to taste really good, and then you take a bite of it, it's like, this is garbage.
Or like the pop rocks,
Oh
like
yeah,
the urban myth and all that with about pop rocks and soda and everything else. Because what's funny, there's a podcast called the fandom thing, I guess. I don't want to like massacre the name, but I mean the fandom thing. They're doing like a if you want to go and do a trivia of like horror, which I told them like, hey, no problem, and they sent me excuse me, like hiccups. Send me like email and try to be into this like thing, and I'm like, all right, but then they send me like a gift basket, in the mail. So I had like a pin of their fandom and all that, a sticker of Freddy Krueger, which also I need to get a sticker from you if you do have one, because I'll send yours. I'll send mine to you as well, because I want to put you on my friends board of tattoo squid, with the stickers. But getting back to the thing, and I got pop rocks, from them, and I'm like, I haven't tried that yet. I need to try some. But my girlfriend was like, oh, pop rocks. Oh. Like, what's wrong with pop rocks? I'm not gonna die from it. I'm like, I had pop rocks when I was a kid, and look how I turned out now.
Here's something that, and I know it'll. What I'm about to tell you, depending on where you're located. So you're in Eastern time. So I assume that you're on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Correct. All right. So I'm in Central time. I'm in Tennessee.
Obviously.
I haven't. I moved here. It was accidental. So it was either be homeless or go with my parents. And I said, well, I like shelter and I like food. So I'll just live, I'm kind of used to that. I like to eat every day.
Yeah.
At least 2 or 3 times a day anyway.
Yeah.
So back in the day, like when I was younger, we used to go to the ballpark and we used to get peanuts and a Coca-Cola or a Dr. Pepper. And we used to put the peanuts inside the Coca-Cola or the Dr. Pepper.
Wow. And what were they supposed to do anyway? Is that like an old myth?
I don't know what it does. It actually, believe it tastes good. It's just like, I don't know why, because it's like I guess the salt from the peanuts and then the carbonation.
Yeah.
But I know people are like, what? That's so nasty. Try it. That's all I say. If you don't like it, what, you can just spit it out. I mean, whatever.
So Coke or Dr. Pepper, which I love Dr. Pepper actually. So I'll get that one instead. And peanuts.
Yeah, just plant your salted peanuts and just pour a little bit in there, and then like, I don't know what it is, because you'll drink it and you can you chew the peanuts, of course. They're kind of, they're not soggy per se, but they have enough. They still have a little crunch to them, and it's like, okay, it's not bad. And I don't know what it is. Like we used to do it all the time. Like when I was playing like baseball, and we're sitting in the dugout, and we have a drink, and we're sitting there just putting peanuts in a Coca-Cola or a Dr. Pepper.
Speaking of that, we call it. But now I don't really drink anymore because of obviously some health issues, I guess. But I used to drink a lot, and there was like a drink called Dr. Pepper, which I forgot what was in it, but it was like awesome to fucking do because they give you a shot glass of shot glass of amaretto and Dr. Pepper, I think. I'm not even sure. No, I think it was beer. And you get the beer and you put the shot glass in the beer, and then it's supposed to the amaretto and beer make it like Dr. Pepper, and you're supposed to chug it down and all that. But what is your go-to drink if you're a drinker? What was your drink of choice?
I used to drink rum and Coke, and I was not. And I tell you, there's stories around everything. So I wasn't a huge drinker until I moved to the West Coast. I used to live in California,
Yeah.
and California, when they make a drink, it's like 3/4 liquor and then 1/4 Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is and I'm weak. I can't help it. I was weak, but living out there for the first month, I can't really remember. I built up a good tolerance. I can tell you that. I don't remember. I can barely remember my first month living in California. So and I noticed like I'll drink rum and Coke. Then somebody had I forgot what it was called. It's like it's a red something, but it's Jaeger, peach schnapps, and cranberry juice. And I shit you not, it tastes just like a red gummy bear. And when I remember I had a friend of mine when we were at this bar. He bought like he worked at the bar, so we got like 6 shots, and he said, "Man, take as many shots you want." And he said, "Take 3." I said, "Okay." And so I downed them 1, 2, 3, and I put them down, and it had Jaeger, and I noticed like Jaeger was my happy drink because I'm always happy. Like I don't know why, it just makes me really happy. And he's like, "Have you ever had Jaeger before?" I was like, "No." He said, "Man, you're gonna feel it." Yeah, sure. 10 minutes later, yeah, it was like a Mack truck. And I was like, oh. Yeah.
that was my go-to drink as well, man. I used to go camping, and my friend like introduced me to Jägermeister. I was like, oh yes. Used to buy my own bottle and bring it going camping. It's like, like a wino that sits out in the street or something. We're in like the woods and camping, and and we had like the bonfire, and we just sat there, and right next to us where the chairs that you put your glass or whatever, or your bottle. Right. We put the bottle of Jägermeister right there. And
there you go. But yeah, that was my happy drink. Like I just remember just I was so happy. Rum was my laid back drink. Like I'm very laid back, and I guess I'm like 2 types of drunks, as they say. One, like if I drink rum and Coke, I'm going to be laid back. Like I'm chilled, like really chilled, and I'm just enjoying. I'm just vibing. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then Jaeger's my happy drink, and I'm energetic and more. I'm goofier more than what I am now. So now I did recently. Well, I won't say recently. I did find this one Moscato, and it's called Mama Mango.
Yeah.
And man, I can't find it anywhere in Tennessee. They used to have it at World Trade Market. I think it was called Trade World Market, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And they quit selling it. And a mutual friend of my wife's and I had a friend that was coming up from Georgia, and they actually stopped in on their way to Tennessee and bought 5 bottles of this Mama Mango. It is so delicious. It's not even funny. I'm down to 1.5 bottles now. So like I really had to step back because it's like, oh yeah, I might want to save one for a special occasion. But like, man, like, cause I hadn't had it like it was like 2 years ago since I had this drink. And I drink like, man, Like I drank 3 bottles within 3 weeks because it was that delicious. It was like, and so I had to stop myself.
Whereabouts now? Whereabouts in? I'm not trying to like have everybody pinpoint where you live or something, but I'm like, because I told my girlfriend, I'm like, listen, if we were gonna go and retire, because my girlfriend's gonna retire before I will, but I want to go somewhere. I don't want to go to Florida because everybody goes to fucking Florida. I don't want to go to North Carolina because everybody's going to fucking North Carolina. But I want to go to Tennessee. I can't really go to Louisiana because fucking hurricanes everywhere. But I'd love to go to Tennessee. Now, where would I be able to what's a good part to go to like live in Tennessee?
I mean, are there good parts of Tennessee? That's the question.
Well, I mean, I'm taking it from you. We could that you live in Tennessee. You might know.
I mean, Tennessee's okay. I mean, it's okay, but I mean, I'm trying to get out. So I've been here long enough. It's like because everybody's moving here, and it's like because everybody's moving here, prices are going up. So inflation has, and it's like it's like even if you lived here, you can't even afford to live here because of all that. I mean, it depends. I mean, you have Knoxville, which it's cool. You have Memphis, it's all right. You have Chattanooga. You have the main hubs, even Nashville. So it just depends on are you want to be secluded, then you need to be on the outskirts. Or me, I like being close to the city because I like the convenience. I hate driving, and that's what sucks about living. Because at one time I did live out. I wouldn't say in the country, but I lived in a smaller type town, and I had to drive everywhere to get to places. Like Nashville is like 25 minutes away, or if I had to go to, and like even though the grocery store may have been like 7 minutes down the street, whatever, but it was like Food Lion's expensive. And so I would have to drive another 25 minutes to even go to like a Walmart, or maybe like 40 minutes to even go to Target, depending on where I go to. So it depends. Like me, I moved to the city and I enjoy it. Like I love the convenience. It's like where I live now, like there's a Kroger, there's a Target, Publix is about 7 minutes away. Things are here. The only thing is I wish I had more food places, but
Definitely. But I think we're getting close to the time. I'm gonna have to end this on a high note. Tennessee is a high note with the high prices, but so tell everybody where they can find you. I mean, pretty much they know where they're gonna find you, but anything that's new or you got something in the works?
Well, in the works, like the new episode that I am working on, which should be recording tomorrow if everything works out right, is I'm going to be talking about reality TV, the unreality of reality TV. So that's what I'm working on. I just got to get everything put together. As far as where everybody can find me, there's a one-stop shop that I send everybody. Make sure you do follow. It's my pod page, and that's podpage.com/talkinshiz, of course. And it has all the platforms where you can find the podcast, and also has all the social media platforms such as Twitter, which is at talkin_shiz, or Instagram, same thing. I do have a Facebook. I'll be honest, I rarely go to Facebook.
Same here.
I mean, Facebook to me is like MySpace, but without Tom. You just have an asshole as the face of Facebook.
I love MySpace. I wish that shit was gonna come back.
Tom, he always looked lonely, like he wanted friends, but he looked like a college student that hasn't taken a bath in like a couple of days.
Yeah, that's true, but hey, haven't we all been there? We're sitting there on MySpace, like, hey, we're gonna cut and paste like everything on there and fucking put a whole bunch of shit and watch two girls in a cup. Well, anyway, that's an image that I'm gonna have to go and get something to eat and try to get the image out of my mind. All right, so guys, ladies and gentlemen, this was been talking with CJ from Talking Shiz, doing the shit his own, give him some props, give him some, love and support, go to his Twitter page, go to his pod page, and then you'll find everything. As also you go to my pages, you go to Twitter at podcast tattoo squid. You catch me on YouTube, same name but the opposite direction. I don't know how that fucking works. But why does Twitter have to be difficult? I don't know. I wanted to have podcast tattoo squid. I mean squid and whatever. I'm getting multi dryness. I need some food. Just reach me and everything else, and you can find CJ talking shiz at the pod page, like we just said before. CJ, thank you for being on.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you inviting me on. It's been fun.
Yeah, we're
Just basically bullshitting.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. It's basically just everybody just bullshit, and then we just talk about whatever comes to mind. It's like, talking at the water cooler or something, like at work. But I'm going to talk to you in a little bit, when I get some info from you, we call it, and then, so I can do stuff for the description box, for down the line when I do this, setting it up. So, alrighty, guys, take it easy. Have a good weekend. And my next guest will be, I had to say it, which will be tomorrow, but then it'll be in a couple of weeks where he's going to come out. Alrighty. Everybody have a good night and have a good weekend. CJ, I will talk to you in a few minutes, and have a nice night.
You too.